Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Monroe Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for March the 7th, 2024. It is 7 p.m. I am Mike O'Reilly, the chairman. If you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Evening. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. I'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Dominic Smarglito, alternate commissioner.
Dominic Benicia, alternate.
Ryan Condon, Commissioner.
Anna Ambrosi, commissioner.
Bruno Maini, Commissioner.
Robert Westland, commissioner.
Nicole Lupo, alternate commissioner. Catherine Gallagher, planning and zoning administrator.
And Sarah Stroud, our recording secretary.
Sarah Stroud, recording secretary.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. We'll move on to general public participation. If anyone in the audience tonight or online would like to address the commission for a subject that is not on the agenda tonight or on future agenda, you can do so now. Please raise your hand. If there's anyone here tonight who would like to address the commission on any topics at all that isn't on the agenda, raise your hand. Then going online, just raise your hand. Seeing none, and we'll move along.
I actually have one item. I apologize. I'd like to add to the agenda. It is a bond release request for 615 Main Street for Best in Backyards, which is under Eastern Jungle Gym, SCP 2020-05. I would like to add that to the end of the agenda for review. They have been very patient with us as we've been dealing with some staff transitions to get their final CO. And now that we granted it, we would like to expedite getting them their bond release.
On reduction?
Yeah, bond release,
How much?
15,000.
50?
15.
Okay, we'll add that on to the end. All right, so we'll start with the first public.
You actually, because it wasn't on the original agenda, the commission has to vote. And it has to be approved by 2/3 of the vote.
All right. And then the chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve,
To add,
to add the approval.
and motion in a second. We'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Maini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Okay, we're going to add it to the agenda. Next. Good to go?
Yes, thank you. I apologize.
Public hearing SCP 2022-4-A1. This is 1271 Monroe Turnpike. I think this is opening hearing. No?
1271, open it. No, it's a continuation.
Continuation. Okay.
There's no new ones, right? Because I don't have any.
Continuation.
Yes. We do have
Or continue.
new ones.
You have one.
515, 517 Main Street is new.
You have the notice?
I will. This one is not. I will find the other ones for you.
Yes. We can continue.
269 Pretty Hill also is new.
Correct.
All right. Ryan, you got some reading to do tonight.
Not for this one, though, so.
Right, that's the last time I bring it. It's the last. I don't know. You really want it? It's black.
So we are reading the form, so this one isn't it? Because they're coming back to us, right? We had already approved, it's a new, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all three of these.
I got it right here, so. In accordance with CGS 8-70, a public hearing will be held on Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter via hybrid Zoom meeting and in person attendees located at Monroe Town Hall, SCP 2022-04A1, the Ridge at Monroe, 1271 Monroe Turnpike. Permit approval, amendment, modification, application for proposed increase in construction of detached single-family units From 19 to 25 at the age-restricted development, the Ridge at Monroe located at 1271 Monroe Turnpike, Assessor's Map 134, Lot 30. 1271 Monroe Turnpike LLC owner, J. Edwards and Associates LLC representative. Notice was published in Voices twice on Wednesday, February 14th and February 21st.
Thank you, Commissioner Condon. And Kathleen, you have the exhibits.
Yes. Since our last meeting, we've received Health Department comments 12/29/24, planning and zoner report for March 1st, 2024. Actually, we think we had that for it. Since then, we received a zoning compliance plan dated March 5th, on March 12th, 2024. The Conservation and Water Resource Commission comments on 3/6/2024. The response and revisions by J. Edwards and Associates on March 5th, 2024. And that concludes the end of the exhibits.
For the applicant.
Good evening. Jason Edwards, J. Edwards Associates, Engineer Surveyors, 227 Stephanie Road, Easton. I'm here tonight with Robert Sherwood, Landscape Architect, and Mark Nizzolo, partners in the building the home down here. Share my screen.
Yes.
So just a reminder on this project, this is located at 1271 Monroe Turnpike. Currently zoned and approved for 19 single-family age-restricted homes. That was approved back in 2021, I believe. Since then, we came back before you and modified the zone text to reduce the building spacing. At that time, I showed you these same plans. That allowed us to gain additional units, which increased it from 19 to 25. So we're now back into show you what that looks like. But just to give you an overview on the age-restricted zoning requirements, it's a minimum of 10 acres. The residents must be 55 or older. They have to approach a major roadway. They must have public water, must be condominium ownership, and they can be detached or attached units. And one of the changes we made, just to step back a second, the zone change, we also removed the 3-bedroom allowance. We were allowed to have 3-bedroom units in the single family detached, but we reduced that to 2, so 3's been eliminated. Which accounts for how we could add more units as well. This is just a depiction of where our site is, which is the green box, 1271 Monroe Turnpike's up here. We're right next door to High Meadow condominiums, which is also zoned ARR. That's 130 units. This is, never remember the name of this one, but that's the one owned by the Monroe Housing Authority. We have Hidden Knolls, which is right on across the road, right near Route 111. And then the new development here is Cutler's Crossing that built out starting in about 2019, 2020, finished. That was built by the same group that's now building the home at 1271, which is known as Ridge. Okay, this is just an area view where we are. Basically, it's Trailside Drive, I believe, goes right across here. High Meadow condos here. The firehouse is directly across the street from us. Old deer resort roads. Just to go back a little bit, this was the original concept we had approved through wetlands in 2021. Actually, it was 27 units comprised of attached and detached units. That went to wetlands and came before you for the zone change to create the ARR zone. But it was deemed to the next developer that was interested in the property decided to do a detached layout instead. So in 2022, 2021, 2022, this is what you have seen and approved. This is the 19-unit layout. The phase line here, that's still, it is still our current phase line. So these first 4 units here, as well as the first like 800 feet of road, are under construction. They're, ready to start breaking ground on the foundations. So we are really modifying this rear section. We'll be adding units back there. The rest of it is all approved back here, but we're asking to modify. So this is what the current proposal now looks like. You see that the units were added really to this rear section here. They're changing that alignment and with a reduced spacing, we're able to fit a few units. We provided some new landscape plans in the latest submission. Robert Sherwood here is here to go through these. I'll just show them roughly where the buffers are for now. You can see we've got planted buffers along the perimeter of the driveway as well as the front units here. The next page, you can see we've got a buffer, significant buffer along the perimeter here and along the wetland on this side. We do have wetlands approval. And again, if you have questions on this, Robert Sherwood's here to answer those questions. These are some of the building plans, conceptual architecture plans that they're proposing to build. You know, we've got a 2-bedroom layout with a kind of a bonus room upstairs. They're all similar. They have 2-car garages, they have a patio or deck on the rear. I don't know, what is the square footage of this, Mark?
Somewhere between 21 and 27.
Yeah, from 2,100 to about 2,700 square feet, depending on the unit. They're all age restricted, and they're the 2 bedrooms. And this is just a little bit about the builder. They did recently win an award for the other project in town, Butler's Crossing. This is what the finished product looks like over there now. What was the award that you won? It was,
Best age restricted community in Connecticut.
so the best age restricted community in Connecticut. They won that award last year, I believe. This is just from their website. These are photos of, this is Butler's Crossing, overall Butler's Monroe. I think came out really nice. Very good job, well respected builders. Some of the interiors. And this is actually more of what they're rebuilding. The Colors project is all attached units, whereas what they're going to be building detached, and this is similar to what will be going in. At this point, if there's any questions on anything I just went through, I'd be happy to answer them, or if there's questions on anything else, Rob or Mark.
Okay, then Kathleen, do you have anything to add?
Planning and zoning, I did an ARR calculation. So the way our calculation is done is based on the October 1st, 2023 record of single family homes in the RF1 zone, RF2 zone, and RF3 zone. So it's just those 3 zones. It doesn't include RR zones or anything of the sorts. That total number of housing units are 5,440. So 6% of that is 326 units. The town currently has 317 built or approved units. So not all are built, but some have been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we're counting them towards the count. Therefore, there are 9 ARR units available for approval, and the applicant is requesting for 6 additional units. So we do have that available. We're very, very close to our cap, that they are available for approval by this commission. I had asked a couple questions to the applicant where they've mostly answered about trash and mailboxes. Trash are going to be collected like a typical residence where it's going to be at the end of the driveway, but there will be one collective mailbox location that you said is located basically between the 2 phase.
Yeah, it's right. Here you can kind of see the outline of it.
That will be picked up. I had some concerns about the landscape buffer, specifically by the High Meadows property. My concern with that was just the septic systems that are located in that area. There obviously needs to be a little bit of a separation distance between any planting and the septic. So if the landscape architect could just at some point maybe do a quick presentation and address what was planted there and how we're going to make sure that it doesn't affect the septic systems in those areas, as roots can have a negative impact on septic trenching. I had some concerns about parking, which has been addressed. We did get new plans 2 days ago. So we did a preliminary review of that, but haven't done a full-fledged review. And then there were some concerns about the access driveway and its compliance to the AR regulations for internal access driveway segments. The applicant has been going back and forth with the town engineer. I believe you guys have a resolution of how that is going to be addressed. Basically, the last unit along the upper Driveway is going to be switched so that our calculations for the length of the driveway will be in compliance. So there will be one minor request from the site plan from the town engineer. However, it's very minor. And the engineer said, you know, independent of everybody else's comments or requests from the applicant, that he would be able to accept that as a condition of approval. Or if for some reason we have additional comments, and the applicant needs to resubmit drawings, they could just resubmit it as part of that process. I do not believe we have digital versions of the set that was submitted to us 2 days ago, so please get that to staff.
Make sure.
Okay, let's just confirm that so they can get that on. All the other town engineers' comments had been addressed, and he had no other concerns.
And we'll start with the commissioners on my right.
So some of the units you took out were 3-bedroom, you were saying?
Yeah, originally we had a mixture of 3 and 2 bedroom units in here, so we eliminated all the 3 bedrooms and now they're all only 2 bedrooms. That we're limited at the maximum number of bedrooms we can have on this property per health code is 25. I'm sorry, 50. So that limits our number of 2 bedroom units to 2 per each unit.
So we added the same net amount of bedrooms?
Yeah,
As
yeah,
before?
that. We're actually, yes, we're the same as before. Yeah, we're the same. as before. Yeah, next to that, we had 1 bedroom.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
We have a letter from the health department that new test holes had to be done, and that was yesterday. Is that?
We got rained out yesterday, so we scheduled for next week. We must need 2 test holes to verify systems. We've done upwards of 40 test holes out there over the past 3 years, so we have a pretty good confidence in soil conditions, but it would be
We'll have to check those. Okay. That's it for now.
What's the difference in the plans that you turned in 2 days ago?
sorry,
What's the difference in the plans that you turned in 2 days ago?
difference from,
Well, I just got these plans.
those are the ones from 2 days ago. That's the same that's up here.
That's what I'm saying. I only had these.
One thing that's changed is,
Change in this.
we added the response to Kathleen's zoning comments. We added a few parking spaces. We've changed, we added calculations to the zoning compliance sheet.
The landscape change.
Landscape plan, because that's a major change, landscape plan. Previously, there was not much of a problem.
And some clarifications on the location of the sidewalk. It wasn't necessarily showing up on all plans.
Yeah.
So if it was a condition of the previous approval was that they provide a sidewalk. However, if you could clarify where it starts and where it finishes.
Here, the second unit up, it starts here and runs down to here. I believe if I remember correctly, at the last go round, the commission had asked for sidewalks so that people could walk to the mailbox. They have a place to walk back and forth, but it also provided a walking path, I guess you could say, between the upper and lower sections. Right, point that out clear, my friend.
Yeah.
Move on.
It looks to me, and I'm sure your calculations are perfectly fine, but it looks, how accessible is it for a fire truck or EMS to get all in there? Because if you're in that back corner after that roundabout, the fire trucks, what are they doing?
Well, they can get up to the turnaround there.
Uh-huh.
Have it, the hammerhead up here, they could technically get backed in and turn back around here.
Fire truck could?
I believe so, we'll verify that, but I
You have that-
plant's so big.
You have that on this plan?
I don't know if we have the turning limits on that, but I can put them on the plan if you want to see it.
You should have that on the plan.
We reviewed it with the fire marshal, so I did provide a,
But
yes.
for us, it should be on the plan.
That was a major concern. Obviously, you probably have enough room for EMS and all that kind of stuff to get in there. So where would a fire hydrant be?
I don't know if the fire marshal established that yet. Did you talk to you about that?
It's a combination of the fire marshal and the water company.
Yeah.
So we're in the process, once this is approved, or we will then reach out to the water company. They will dictate to us where they go in conjunction with the fire marshal.
So we're gonna put them wherever he wants them.
Are you putting lights up and down this driveway?
Yeah, there is a lighting plan. Is it in your latest set? I have, a lot if you want to look at it. The switch programs. Plan set. This is the lighting plan. It's pretty hard to see here, but yes, there is, you can see the large dots coming up that driveway. Those are light poles. And then there's a post light on each driveway, where each unit has one on the driveway. But it's compliant with those light regulations.
I'm assuming that all that's gonna be underground, right? All those lights are gonna be underground,
All the wide cable.
all the cable lines and all that kind of stuff on there.
Can you talk through that actual light fixture? Is the light sitting in the bottom of that hood and projecting downward?
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not that familiar with lights. I have to.
Can you just clarify that? I just want to make sure there's not a bulb that's glowing from the bottom base.
Probably is a dark sky initiative lamp, so. it's-
Yeah, so it sits in the hood and then goes
It is
down.
dark sky, I know that.
Excuse me, that's the same fixture we use in cars.
Okay, can you actually repeat that into the mic? Only because you can repeat it into the mic. I just want to clarify, there's been some issues with people in the audience speaking and not being picked up the mic and for the recording.
Yeah, so just to clarify, that is a dark sky compliant light fixture, and it's the same that was used on the other development down.
Each home is gonna have their own septic system? And you're not, because we just had an application where they were gonna do like like their own little mini plant on site. You're just gonna,
It's all health code system, probably didn't. If the one failed, it's the homeowner deals with it, it's not an issue. Fire system of a complex failure.
all right, I'm good for now.
So each homeowner is in charge of their own system.
Well, I imagine it's gonna have to be, that there, I mean, what I meant by that is that if it fails, it affects the one unit, it doesn't affect all of the units. I don't know if it would be the homeowner association that would control that probably.
Yes, the homeowners association.
You gotta come up and name and record and all that kind of
I'm
stuff.
sorry.
All right. It's your first time. I got it.
I'm a rookie. Mark Nisolo, I'm a member of the Ridge Builders LLC. What was the question?
Well, I was interested in finding out
Oh, I
whether
didn't know, get like Joe
the
Biden.
resident was gonna be in charge of their own system. And maintenance.
We originally wanted to have every homeowner, but your regulations require us to have the association. So the association will maintain it, and we'll set up a schedule for them to inspect and maintain. So it will be the homeowners association.
Yeah, I mean, being that there's, wetlands on site, we have had other communities like this where systems have been in failure for quite some time. So it's a sticking point for us. What type of frequency would you,
We've
Have these,
been in
inspected.
communication, a couple of different companies, some are in Monroe, and they will be maintaining a couple of farm association. These new systems have these filtration devices to prevent them from getting clogged, which is the good news. The systems don't clog. Bad news is the backups are clogged more frequently. So I think it's every 3 months, 4 months, somebody will come out, take the basket out, clean it, put it back in, And, because they're age-restricted community, it's not going to get the usage that a family would do. So hopefully, the diapers and some of the other product that go into these systems, the wipes, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully it'll be less in demand than a normal family. So, we're confident that, and of course today they always over-design the system, so we're comfortable.
Right. I guess we're back to Mr. Edwards here.
Thank you.
As far as the residents, the abutting rear residences, how close are they and how many are there? We can kind of get an area. And have we moved this development back further towards them with the additional units?
Jason Edwards for the record. Just pull up here. See you off that. Yeah, I think the upper corner, they probably got a little bit closer, but we still have a 50-foot setback, not, I don't think we're at the setback, I think it's 1 quarter. Here. So you can see we went back in this upper corner, they got closer. That's really what the unit's building in that corner.
Yeah. So it's only in the top corner and you're.
They got slightly closer at the bottom portion of it too. So they're not really sitting
no,
exactly on that setback.
Yeah.
Now they moved, so they literally basically sit on that setback line.
Yeah, they did get closer.
Okay. As opposed to the prior design wasn't exactly on the setback.
Yeah, there was a little more space there.
And looking at the illustration of those lights also, and I'm also taking into consideration neighbors, it did appear from that illustration, although it might be dark sky compliant, it did look like there was a bulb in that fixture and it would throw the light off to the sides. It's either a bad illustration or a poor design. But one or the other, we should definitely get that clarified because I don't want, and those lights are going to be staying on pretty much all night or.
What we've done in Cutlers is, Mark and so again, what we've done in Cutlers is we put them on a dawn to dusk. And we will do the same here, and each homeowner's light will be on dawn to dusk. So it'll be like a village look, but it is dawn to dusk,
Got it.
assuming that they function properly.
Yeah. I appreciate that. And for staff, the other question I have is, on those 300+ units that right now are either built or approved, taking into the ratio of our ARR projects, do you have any idea what that ratio is?
Of how many are
How
just,
many are approved but not built? I mean, are we talking a small percentage?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're pretty much almost there.
yes. I think it's basically this development.
Yeah.
Is all that's really left. Yes, it's
Okay.
yours.
Well, it's good for us to know what we're trying to plan and build those out. And basically, when those permits expire, those are back in the mix as far as being able to be added into the AR district.
Yeah.
As soon as the permit expires, provided there's no extension or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I have. Thanks.
Just one question, because I don't remember for the last time. With the change, is there any blasting in that back corner? I recall there may be some blasting, but I don't remember.
Significant, we've got 6 to 8 foot cut back there, so there is some knock we found in the test holes about 4 feet down, so there's a chance we could have some, but we don't anticipate it's significant. I wouldn't rule it out, but it shouldn't be major.
And I'm sure for the public, if you do have to do blasting, you'll go through the fire marshal and
Yes.
follow the correct protocols to the blasting plan.
As part of the SCP, if you are blasting, you do need to provide a blasting.
Yeah, I have one, I just haven't got
To this commission. And then I will tell you that we've had some issues with blasting with other projects, especially when they're close to other residential communities. So what we would like to start doing is that if you are blasting, in addition to the requirements that you have to do just as part of a blasting permit with the fire marshal, you have to send out a letter beforehand, but the letter doesn't give like actual dates of when the blasting is going to occur. So residents aren't having issues with the blasting. They're having issues with not knowing when to make sure their kid isn't going to play outside, you know, in the yard if they're in a zone that they feel like is too close or it's going to be too loud or things of that nature. So we have been asking applicants to send out a letter that just says blasting may occur within this 3-week period between, you know, 10 to 3 p.m. So we're not going to make you say it has to be Tuesday at 11, but if you could give a really wide range so that people can plan around that. And to, again, reiterate to them what the blasting protocol is for the whistles, for the notification. And then that has seemed to keep residents mostly informed enough that they can make good decisions for their family.
That it's a body shop dealer, that's full radius.
If it's I think it's 250 for the fire marshal. If you could just add it with the letter that you have to send out anyway, to the 250, then everybody gets a notification.
Is there if that stay on this? If I send that out, you know, on August 1st, and then my contractor delays and do his blasting until September 1st, and I didn't meet my window, am I going to be in violation of the permit or?
I would just ask you to send out another letter. If you know you're going to be later, send out another letter updating that same group of people.
Okay, just want to make sure.
It's not and that doesn't mean you're not going to blast again,
Yeah,
you know, in another 6 months because you move to a different area of the
Yeah.
site or whatnot. We would just ask you to send out another letter, just letting people know. And again, if you want to give them, I'm not giving a restriction on window. I'd rather you not give them a 6-month window or a 1-year window. But
Yeah.
if you give them a 4-week window or something of the sort to give yourself a little bit of room, we would appreciate just notifying the neighbors a little more.
That's all, no other questions.
Yeah, you guys have a question?
Yeah, what's this multi-purpose room?
That multi-purpose room is for the grandchildren.
What does that mean?
So, our experience, and let me just say that, I really appreciate the fact that Monroe has this age-restricted community. There's a tremendous demand for housing for people my age, where one floor living is going to keep us out of the assisted living facilities or the nursing homes. But what we found, and we've had great success, we have 2 bedrooms on the first floor, which serves a number of functions. One, in the event that someone becomes ill, and we've had that, but they have a bed, a hospital bed, so it's not disrupting the other bedroom. If they don't, sometimes they they sleep in different rooms. Somebody snores, so they have bedrooms. We laugh, but it happens.
Yeah.
My wife wears earplugs, so it kind of helps a little bit. But the other thing is that they could use that as an office space. So either they'll put a bedroom in there for those 2 purposes, or they'll put an office space. Now, grandkids, a lot of our customers are people coming back from other parts of the country. A lot of people moving back from Florida, Carolinas, Maine, and they want to be close to their families. So, and that's the reason they move back to Connecticut, to be close to their families. So that multi-purpose room serves. We've had one person put a pool table. Some people put a little bed or something for the grandchildren. Again, the age-restricted community, they're not allowed to stay there full time, but it's nice for them to come and visit. So that was a very interesting part. A lot of builders are putting just 1-floor ranches, but not giving that capacity for the grandchildren. And we found this to be very successful.
Well, the issue I have with it is it could turn into be a bedroom.
It could, but,
Yeah,
you know, again,
definitely.
the age-restricted rules prohibit that. And
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that's nothing, when it's closed in, it doesn't mean that, I mean, you have the 2nd floor here with a full bath in it.
there was no pool bath.
Well, looks like it has a tub,
On the second, well,
like it has a
the
sink,
first floor, if you look
like
at
it has a toilet on this one over here. So I
Yeah.
imagine that there's a full bath upstairs.
He's looking at A1.
if you look at the web plan, which is our base model. One more
I
down.
see it, the web plate, I can see the one at the bottom. I'm looking at the second floor.
Yeah. So the web plan, which is our introductory model, and we've sold a few of these in colors, but they're not popular. So if you look at this plan, the primary bedroom is in the lower left-hand corner. It is the only bedroom on the first floor.
No, I see.
What it does, it's the capacity for a nicer kitchen, dining, family area. We still have, in that particular case, we have a bath and a half. So the half bath services the guests.
See that.
And a primary bath. So on the second floor, we have a second bedroom. So we do have the ability, once they're 18 years old, if they're in college and they want to come back for a couple of months, I think it's 3 months is what the rule is, they can stay there. We haven't had that yet. And this is not a very popular plan. So, but we do have the capacity, because now we're still only 2 full bedrooms.
No, I understand, but you're increasing the number of units. You're taking away the 3 bedrooms and you're putting in, you're saying 2 bedrooms. My issue is that this could turn in to be a 3rd bedroom. And how many of these units are you gonna have? I mean, you're gonna increase the septic capacity, you're gonna increase all that stuff. And it's, like I said, there's a lot of wetlands in this property already,
But the health code requirements, they're not going to allow any more bedrooms in the development.
No,
So, I mean, if somebody does something outside of the code, we can't control that.
flows. Like I have issues sometimes, like even the other one that we approved, where he had like a loft up top, and I was like, it turned into a bedroom. And then they ended up doing something with that so that it wouldn't turn into a bedroom. But now, you know what I mean? I understand you're increasing the number of units and these could all turn into 3 bedrooms.
Not legally.
Not legally, no, but who's gonna go inspect them? Nobody's gonna
Follow
inspect
the
them.
laws. I mean.
What I'm saying to you, as far as us approving it,
Outside of the law.
it gets tough when you have a big room, like this is a huge room you have up here.
Yeah, but I mean, they could turn the office into a bedroom.
No, I know.
They could turn the family room into the bedroom. I mean, the garage.
No, but I kind of understand what Leon's saying though. Like,
There's no door at the top of those stairs, right? So it's open.
And the health code provides the definition of bedroom, we have to not meet that.
closet.
No closet, the door should be wider than.
Yes.
Certain width.
Correct. But Leon is 100% correct where you easily
Could sneak
could sneak someone in there.
And it might not even be
And-
sneaking. Let's say, I mean, it's 55 and older. So if someone's 55 or 60, their parents who are in their 70s or 80s could be getting older or just had surgery and need someone to stay with. They could technically bring the hospital bed here and stay here for 6 months while they recover. So technically, they could have their elderly parents staying with them. So yes, you could technically bring in more people on a temporary basis if they're caregiving for somebody.
They could be in the 2nd bedroom.
Or could be,
More than likely on the first floor.
unless, as you said, you have a snore or whatever and everyone's in a different bedroom.
You could turn any room into a bedroom.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that's
true.
true. I was saying that,
Also bringing up the point of encouraging people to turn a room into a
Correct.
bedroom.
Correct.
right,
We haven't had that experience. As I said, these are older folk. We haven't had any golden girls where 3 people live together, which could become a 3rd bedroom. But we haven't had that. Like I said, what we have had is grandkids for a day and night. Listen, my grandchildren aren't going to stay with me for extended period. So again, it's from a practical perspective.
So you're gonna live in all 25 of these houses then?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, but the kids come for a little bit and.
I'm saying, like the square footage of it, you increase the square footage of it and you make a bonus instead of like shorten it up so that where you couldn't add all that stuff into there, where you'd have 2 bedrooms or whatever. But I'm just saying to you
Yeah.
is it turns out to be like it's a sensitive site over there as it is. because there's a lot of wetlands over there, like you're looping through everything to get in there. And so, and we have issues already. It's not like we don't. And like you say, the maintenance, I don't know what kind of maintenance plan you're gonna have, or if we're gonna require you to give us, reports on when your septic was pumped and everything. But when the septic systems start to fail, then it starts to be a big issue. And if you're gonna add, not everybody's gonna do that. I'm not saying that, but it could turn into be that. But when you build something that gives you somebody that opportunity to add another bedroom, I have a sort of an issue with that. Because it increases everything. And that's the issue I have.
How big is the room we're talking about?
It's on the model.
Instead of one of them.
15 by 13. Let's say. The size, the multi-purpose room, 15 by 17 maybe.
It's, you have it on here. Yeah. It's 525 square foot for that one multi-purpose room.
That doesn't even have privacy. It's got an open
That
stand.
has a thing there.
Wait, no, you're looking at the other room now on A2.
That's the one on the bottom there, but then if we go over this one,
This is the one with the full
this
bath.
is 418 with a full bath upstairs. Multi,
The one you have up right
the
now.
one you have on.
But that multi-purpose room, but there's two bedrooms in the house, one upstairs, one downstairs.
I got that.
And the multi-purpose room.
One
On
bedroom.
the lower level.
Second bedroom,
It's an open room. It's got-
I understand that. I'm saying I have, when you have something like this.
For $300, you can put a door on it.
Yeah, but it won't be per the code. I mean, that's the regulations that we have.
Who's gonna go check
I
it?
understand
Who's gonna go check it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but that's not, we can't be responsible.
Yeah, that's-
We're designing to the codes.
I understand.
How do we prevent people from showing up and breaking the law? I mean, that's not, they're not designing it saying, hey, this is.
Fast on the road either.
They are, but you kind of are designing it to be a bedroom.
What if it's
Kinda
not
are.
a dining room? What if is it just because of the name? I don't get it. Like, people have extra rooms. That aren't bedrooms.
There are so many projects out there that you build, and this is nationwide, 100% that you build, and you add bonus rooms that you say are X, but you're using it, and the realtors are selling it as an additional bedroom. Happens all the time.
Can I say something?
I'm just being honest.
No, no.
It happens all the time. You can't tell me any
I
different.
don't disagree.
Oh, thank you.
I don't disagree.
Well done.
But my point is that there are rules. And if we follow the rules and the association follows the rules, every year they have to submit a documentation of who's living with it. Now,
So who on that board, who on that board's gonna go through these houses and document who's living there?
The association is,
What's the protocol? Is it an honor system? I mean, what's the,
the association has to submit a document to, if that's.
but who provides the information to the association?
So the association has a board. They have a chart, they have responsibilities. And that's one of the responsibilities as the association is to submit to the town. That's the way the town set up the AR zone.
Who provides the information to the association typically?
Well, I don't know. We just formed the association, so they're in the process of Cutler's doing all that. So we've kind of set them, we created a chart, a rules forum, we created a board of, directors. We just appointed the board. Very, very good. These people are sharp and,
They keep an eye on each other.
exactly.
I agree. I
exactly.
understand that.
And
the
so I don't
association is
think.
made up of the homeowners.
Pardon?
The association is made up of the.
Correct,
Right.
correct,
Okay.
correct.
All right, let's,
And
Agreed,
one-
Bob.
I'm just- I might-
Concerns.
Sorry about that. One of the values of this product is to provide that space for the grandchildren. And I would not probably build, because we looked at putting in a ranch style house and shortening it. But the value wasn't there because the customers are demanding that they have a room for their grandchildren. So if we don't allow them to go here, they're gonna put somewhere in the basement, which is not something we want to do. So we're filling a market. We have a housing problem in the state, we have a housing problem in the country. We are providing an opportunity for older people to come back to our state, to live close to their families. And I would just make that,
Well, thank you. I think it's legal. It is legal also and complies with the regulations. So let's go
Add one more
to,
thing, if you don't mind, just in response to Bruno, what your comment was on how it happens all the time, people adding that extra bedroom. One thing that's different here, though, is it could be permitted by the health code in other areas, most other areas in town. If you have a 3-bedroom septic system and you want to add 1 bedroom, you can do that without any expansion to your septic. Here, that wouldn't be permitted because the entire site is regulated. So you could potentially do it on many sites, even if they're on sewers. I mean, you would have the ability to do it within the law, whereas here you don't have that option through health code. It is a difference. I understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing with you, but I'm saying there is a difference.
all right, thank you very much. We're going to move on to
I
the,
won't even respond.
sorry?
I'm not going to respond.
Okay, we're going to go on to the public participation portion of this hearing. If there are any members of the public here tonight that would like to comment on this application, please raise your hand. Any members of the public online that would like to comment either for or against this application, please press your raise hand button. Okay, I do see none. So then we'll go back to the applicant. Do the commissioners have any further questions?
You don't have anything further?
No, no. Kathleen, are we expecting more information before we close this hearing?
Well, based on what we've discussed this evening, we are looking for to provide the fire truck turning studies, the applicant to clarify the light fixtures and to provide a blasting plan.
All right, we'll leave it open.
And the test holes from the health department, but the board doesn't, the health department is kind of its own entity. You know, the resolution's gonna say it's gonna be dependent on, the health department has to approve this.
So we're leaning towards,
Leaving it open.
I mean, do you want to draft a
I can do that.
approval?
If, again, if you want to gauge the,
Want to draft an approval and then look at it next week?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
so we're gonna leave the public hearing
Leaving
open,
it open.
draft and approval.
Draft an approval so we have it next time.
Thank you very much.
That's the Thursday you're away though.
Oh,
Wait for that one.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Okay, next on the agenda.
Thank you.
SCP 2024-03. This is 517 Main Street. This is, we approved the SDD, Special Design District number 5 for this project. They also presented a site development plan, which was, I believe, inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, it was the wrong plan. So tonight they're going to come back with the SCP. And you have the.
Yep. In accordance with CGS 8-7D, public hearing will be held on Thursday, March 7th, 7 PM or soon thereafter via hybrid meeting with in-person attendees at Town Hall, SCP 2403, file 1662, 515 and 517 Main Street. Special exception permit application proposal for 500 plus or minus units of self-storage as located at 15 of 17 Main Street, Assessors Map 57, Lot 4.1 and 4.2. PNC Ventures LLC owner, Cohen and Thomas applicant, J. Edwards and Associates LLC representative. Notice was published in Voices twice on Wednesday, February 14th and February 21st.
Thank you, Commissioner Condon. Kathleen, do you have the exhibit?
Yeah, so exhibit number 1 is the application and map submitted. Number 2 is the certified mailed receipts, which we received on 3/7/24. Also on 3/7/24, the planning and zoning administrator reports. And then we also received a response and submission. I don't think that's accurate. As it relates to my memo, as was previously discussed, this was originally a site development plan that the board heard during the SDD number 5 application process.
Excuse me, the door has to stay open. It's a public meeting. You can ask them to be quiet though, or demand it, either or.
The board approved the SDD number 5. However, we got an opinion by town council that the site development plan was not the proper procedure. So therefore, the applicant withdrew their application and they came in with a special exception permit. So technically, this is a new application. There is a public hearing associated with it, which we're opening tonight. So anything that you heard as part of the SDP isn't technically part of this application. So if there's something that you heard or remembered, from that application that might determine the way that you vote, I would just ask that you give a quick summary of some of those items if you feel that it's important to have on the record. The staff had comments from the last go around, of which the applicant has satisfied the majority of them. The comments that I have is that there was discussion during the SDP about screening, especially to the neighbors to the rear of the property. Commissioner Lupo actually went to the project site, so I would ask you to maybe give a quick summary of your site visit at that time so that we can include it as part of the record for this application. I would just ask that the commission get clarification on exactly what the plan is for that screening. I do believe the applicant and the owner have been in some sort of correspondence. And I will reserve the rest of my comments for after they actually give the presentation.
Okay, for the applicant.
Thank you. Attorney Dominic Thomas, Cohen Thomas, the Main Street Derby candidate, representing the Cohen. Your agenda says Cohen Thomas is the applicant. They're not.
Yeah, we have to change.
Yeah.
Made that mistake.
The applicant, TNC Ventures, they are the owner and the applicant. I will, I suppose you could say it's a blame, doing it in a single step. Probably done 60 planned development districts in Shelton and other communities, and I've written them. And when there are small sites, they're usually done in a single step. I have to defer to the town council, but that is the reason why I proposed it. And I actually discussed that with your prior planner, Richard Schultz, who I had worked with for years, and he agreed that it could be done in a single step. So one of the interesting things is the way most PDDs are set up, so that after the initial concept plan, whatever you want to call it, master plan, or what you have here, your original concept, once that's approved, the next step is to comply with that exactly. If you comply with it exactly, it's basically the equivalent of site plan approval. In this case, you have a regulation which requires the second step to be a special exception. And all I would point out is that, not to dwell on it, but in section 8.2.2 of your regulations, you list standards of your special exception, and mainly, especially A through F. My assessment that you've already made a determination on all of those when you approve the SDP, when you approve this, the first step is zone change. So I do think that Skylar is correct. This is considered a separate application, so we will have to be repetitive, so to speak, in what we presented. The plan is pretty much exactly the same, that it was updated. I believe at the hearing, which I was weighing on, that there was a lot of issues were discussed, and there were cross sections which were presented, and they can be, they will be, not they will be, but the plan will be reviewed again. And I think it was pointed out, and I pointed out again for this hearing, that with respect to the issue in the back, we presented certain issues concerning topography and existing. Despite that, the owner, the representative of TNC has been in communication and has had the landscape architect that's involved been in communication to discuss plantings that I think one of the issues, and I'll defer to Jason, one of the issues is plantings on the site, actually on the site, which there are more enhanced plantings, may address the buffer issue. when you start to discuss plantings on another person's property, that creates another issue, but the applicant here is prepared to take that step and do plantings on the neighbor's property. I know they're in discussion, and I think they even had discussions tonight while the first hearing was going on. So with that, I will turn it over to review the site plan and the architectural.
So sorry.
Evening again, for the record, Jason Edwards, JLK Associates, Engineer Surveyors, 227 Stepney North Easton. This is the proposed self-storage facility at 517 Main Street. I did give this presentation once before, so I'll kind of go through this quick. This is the former Taylor rental site. It's currently vacant. It also has home on the property, two homes on the property as well. Do you want to go through this stuff? No, this is all relevant to the thing.
I'll go.
So just to recap where we are, this is the site is the blue triangle. We're right next door to Starbucks, Plaza, and then the other side is formerly Roberto's. I think it's now going to be Testo's. Our project encompasses the two parcels here, the one with the Taylor rental as well as the home in the back. And there's really nothing across the street. This is, just to describe again where we are in the MDD overlay zone. So we're utilizing the provision of that zone and creating, we did create an SDB designed for this. It's created this in conjunction with this design. This is the proposed building layout. Two buildings. Square footage there. Okay.
Square footage of the
Buildings.
the building.
Okay, I'll hold that again. I have it. I'm not. There are two new buildings. They're 15,000 square foot each. They're 2 stories in the sense that the ground climbed up, so the buildings follow up with the ground. So the entry would come in at the ground level in front. And then you drive up to the middle, and the second floor of the front building would be accessed from the rear at the middle driveway, and the lower floor of the upper building would be accessed from that same area. And then the rear would be, the upper building would be, the upper level would be accessed from it. Single entrance to the property, Route 25 on the right side here. There's the office that's going to be first. It's going to be in the front left corner of the building. The septic area is also off to this side. We have traffic circulation that comes in this entrance, comes to the left, coming around. We have a one-way driveway here. They would also travel up to the upper level and then turn around and go back out in that same way. There is a plan in the set that takes the fire engine out of the site. Was reviewed by the fire chief or marshal. They can make comments. So by public water, trash would be inside the building. They want to limit the ability of the people using the facility to have their garbage go into anything on site. So what they bring in, they gotta take out. The garbage will be limited to the office use that's there. We are proposing a new sidewalk along this entire street frontage. One day connect the sidewalk further down. This is the original landscape plan. Has been modified. Maybe even still in the works in the rear here regarding the view of the project. Again, this was what we reviewed. We also have a lighting plan, dark compliant lights, and they meet the photometric standard regulations. So the architecture, which gives you an idea of the storage unit layouts, the entry here. Now, all these storage units are accessed, I believe all of them are accessed from on the inside. There's no external garage doors for these units. Everybody comes inside and then accesses, which, with the exception of, no, it's still not a garage, but they have that grade increase here so they can roll things in, but they're not, full-size garage doors. You don't vehicle storage or anything. The elevation views, this is the street front. You can see the facade was created, I believe the owner developer worked with the commission to some level on the subcommittee to come up with this facade. It's intended to mirror the next door plaza, Travis Plaza, which is some portion of that is also owned by the same developer, so they have some synergy there. This would be the rear facade, lower part. See how the elevation, the ground climbed up along the side of the building back into there. And that's the rendering along the street. This has been reviewed by the town engineer, addressed any comments he had. I don't think there's anything outstanding for all the stormwater. It all meets EP standards and Monroe standards, and has been reviewed by the town engineer. It's more renderings. That's the end of my presentation.
Did you want to comment or hold any other comments that you had?
Did you have more that you wanted to present?
Oh, well, thank you, Thomas, and I think in the report that one, my client, Principal Thomas Christian, who's here, was presented at the last meeting, or responded to questions of the commission of what is permitted, what is not permitted to be in there. And I can certainly have him come up and repeat what he said at that point. If you wish, I think that was in your notes, and he can possibly do that. And finally, there was an approved statement of uses and standards for the SVD. And I did send the final version in Word format with the approval date indicated on it. Of course, the effective date still has to be set. So
Just I got a couple of things. I forgot. I am going to come back for a second time, and there's a few items. Second presentation I have that I'll go through.
So I guess a question to the commission too, is that list of items, do you want it in writing, or are you okay with a verbal
We can
conversation?
provide it. It's on the slide here. I can provide you.
Writing's best.
Yeah, make it part of the application.
Great. Okay.
This was, I believe there was some request to put more information on the lighting and the landscape. So this was the revised landscape plan that we brought back in on the second hearing. So they added more screening plants along the left side of this plan. I think more so it would be the south side, as well as both sides of the property. This was more information on the lighting was asked for, so they are backed by compliant. These are the fixtures, the pole lights. At that meeting, we had our landscape architect present and could speak on this. I don't know as much about the lights as he did. This is the area describing. This is actually from the rental agreement that the applicant uses when he has other self-storage facilities, and this would be the same standard text he has would use. And you can see the items that are prohibited are any combustible dust, explosive gases, those are series listed, flammable, combustible solids, flammable liquids, poisonous, corrosives, or fume hazard substance, and any other item prohibited by law or ordinance. So we'll provide a copy of this to the staff. The view from the Starbucks had been asked for, and this was a rendering prepared. I don't recall why, but this dumpster, not really there, right?
No, the dumpsters, there's a big rock that's there,
Oh.
we block the building.
I'm so sorry. Could you come up and say that into the microphone?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Tom Cristiano, the applicant. Behind the dumpster, there's just a normal rock. And if I was to present the view that Mrs. Gallagher wanted, you wouldn't see the building. So I eliminated that so you could just get a perspective of the building. And I just made like an outline of it. So the front side is 2 stories, the back side is 1 story, the way it goes into the hill.
In reality, you wouldn't be able to see that.
Not from the Starbucks side.
You'd have something blocking.
Yeah, and there's also landscaping that exists that blocking, just blocks.
So there is no view from Starbucks. Reality.
You know, it's a strange, yes.
Technically, that's probably what we wanted to do, just so you know. Yeah,
I know, but I would think it was be happy.
yeah, no, that's, yeah. Thank you, Will.
And this was, at the initial public hearing, the, Brian Black and the people's name back here, but the abutter to the rear, I believe he tonight. Themselves. They had mentioned the view from their home and how this was going to impact their view. We took a look from where the actual home was, and, you know, did this cross section, and the way that the grades work out there, you really wouldn't see much from the home, but I think their actual area that they were talking about, we discovered at that hearing was back farther at the property line where there's a swing set or something you sent back here. And from there, they likely could see that would be in this neighborhood. So, they have, you know, that's at the edge of the property. So I believe that's the area in which my client has been talking with them to provide some additional landscaping or screening to help them alleviate that issue. This is the fire engine path that had been asked for, so we did provide that. The slide is also on sheet 2.4 of the plan set. Again, it's reviewed by the fire marshal. This came back to some legal stuff. It's not official review.
You're good.
The engineering comments have been addressed with the exception of a couple minor items. However, that can either be incorporated in a revision if a revision is requested for the drawings, or if the engineer is okay with that being conditions of the approval that we can add. As was previously mentioned, for the SDDs, what we're doing is we're not setting the effective date when it's approved. So the commission did not set an effective date for the actual SDD. So if the SCP is never filed, the SDD never becomes effective. So as part of this, we will have to make sure that when you vote on it, you're voting on the actual effective date of the SDD in addition to the effective date of the SCP, and the whole thing becomes effective at one point. So we don't get into a situation where there's been an SDD applied to the land and then there's never an. The narrative for self-storage, they'll provide it in writing. Does this commission want to entertain putting that as a condition of the approval, that we just make the condition that they have to put it in the rental agreement? Do you want that actually written in the condition of the approval?
Yeah.
And then, like was previously discussed at 1271, due to residential neighbors, some of their complaints with blasting, we are asking for that additional letter for this. There's blasting associated with this project. So that would be considered to be a condition as well. And that's the conclusion of my comments.
You're ready for questions? You sound like, you look like you want to say something.
No. We'll provide the.
All right, we'll start with the commissioners then, and we'll start on my left, Commissioner Lupo, who did visit the
Yes.
property.
I visited the property. I don't remember the date, but thank you to the Harrises for letting me come out and show me around. Their property does, and I appreciate the previous slide you showed, where at first glance, it does look like their house does not sit at that top part. So already, you know, the view that you think they have is not really what you're looking at. So their house looks, from their house, you see like the rack going up, but that's not the backyard that they live in, because there's a rack going up. So it's the area up on top of there where they have, you know, the swing sets, the barbecues, the area for the kids. And that's the area that looks right over this area. So the screening that was originally proposed would do nothing. They would be looking down at it, and it would provide nothing for them to prevent them from seeing the building or anything going on there. So I'm interested in hearing what has transpired between you and the owner since that last meeting. But going out definitely was helpful, and actually understanding what they were trying to portray as their concerns were. So,
Okay.
but I don't have any other questions. I'm just interested in hearing what they've been discussing in terms of building up that barrier.
I have no questions.
Oh, we're not gonna get an answer to that?
Not yet.
We're gonna go to the questions first.
That's a question.
That's the only question.
Yeah, why?
That's a question.
Kind of answer on that.
Yeah, because I might have a spin-off question to that.
Right.
When do
Mr.
we find out?
Cristiano, would you like to enlighten us as to your
Engineer.
plan for plantings possibly on the butter's property? And then we'll decide where we can put that into the plan.
I think we should, yeah, put that up, because that's what's on what we did on our.
Bob, are you on?
It's on the name.
Matt Pop, I am here.
That Bob is a landscape architect, right? The environmental.
I think it'd be better if he spoke.
If you could rotate that. Before, I did meet with the neighbor, Sarah Harris, last week. Before I go over the revisions, there was a question on the lighting, I think at the last meeting. You know, if it's dark sky compliant, it is, it shines down. It's the warm tone 3000K light fixture, so it's not the harsh white. So it's a warm tone fixture. There's also one, or I think two lights on the building between the two buildings. Again, that's also 3000K, warm tone, dark sky compliant. There is an existing house up behind to the rear of our rear building. You can see it, and that is visible from the existing house on our site. That's very visible from the rear yard. So our building is quite a bit down lower than that building. There's a driveway coming up around to that house, and right on that driveway, right there, we added 5 white pines for additional screening. Usually, I don't use white pines because they lose their lower branches. But in this case, I think, that's if they lose their lower branches, we're okay with that because we're trying to get the screening up high. And then you can kind of see the clouded area with the number 2 in the triangle. That's the revision. There's an existing arborvitae that's on the edge of the driveway. We want to make sure that that stays. That's probably like 15 feet in height. I think that could be maintained. Another thing that I thought would be helpful is the back of the building. And I'm not sure what tone it is now, but it'd be good if it was a dark tone building. The color, even if it didn't match like the front, again, just something dark in tone. So when they look over down the hillside, they don't see that. So those were, I think, the 3 main changes that we that proposed on the planting plan before you.
So where are the plantings that are gonna wind up on the residents in the rear's property?
So those are,
No, sorry, go ahead.
Tell me, okay, what is the proposal like here? You have to talk about Michael.
Tom Christine. What I was proposing was it's 120 feet. I think it was every 6 feet, there would be a green jarring arborvitae 5 to 6 feet. It's on their property. The problem is that when it's on their property, they lose some of their space. I can't put it on my property because of the rain, and there's existing trees that are acting as a buffer. So it's a little challenging, and I want to do what they want to help them. At the same time, because it's not on my property, it becomes a little more cumbersome, and I'm not sure what's allowed, what's not allowed, how legally it all works out. So that starts to get complicated for me personally.
so you can kind of see the stone wall on the rear property line. So it's pretty much would follow that stone wall. Again, I think the, the concern I would have is when you're on their site, you look, I think the arborvitae's may fence you in, so to speak, and your property stops there. So you're not really borrowing the neighbor's arb site, their landscape for views. So that's the only thing that, I think that I probably wouldn't personally want the arborvitae's there, but I think if the homeowners did, I think that would be, okay.
I mean, I'm no landscape architect, but isn't there a different species of arborvitae that grows tall and not wide? So I know the green giants kind of get wide.
We don't need, the deer don't eat them. So we don't want to plant the other arborvitae's because I think the deer would eat anything from 5 feet down, and that would, the screening wouldn't, that's where we need the screening. So they don't need to be tall. They just need to be, probably, you're only screening from, maybe 6 feet down or so, 8 feet down. You're not trying to screen something that's up, 50 feet or 30 feet or even, again, because you are looking down, our building is quite a bit lower than the backyard there. And just remember that there is an existing house there. So with this project, that house, disappears. Right there. And it's, when you're standing in the backyard, you're level with the windows in that house.
So have you guys come to an agreement?
And I wasn't involved in the bill. One thing I wanted to address is when acquiring offsite planting, usually, well, it's really to some extent beyond the jurisdiction.
Well, it's not something that we would require, it's something that would be offered.
So, so in this situation, as I explained to the client, it's something that you have to offer.
Yes.
You presented an offer, and the only real issue that I've dealt with in the many years that I've done this, and I've had many projects when there's offsite planting, the usual prerogatives are that if the developer is providing the planting, he provides to the homeowner the usual planting warranty, that a certain amount of time, but the responsibility of maintaining them is with the homeowner. So that's the trade-off. I think it chooses a 1-year warranty on the plants, 2 growing seasons or 1 growing season, whatever the circumstances are. But it's been done, and I've done it. Hopefully, I haven't been part of the discussion, and I have dealt and other projects with Matt Hopkins, very well respected landscaper, and his opinions are usually worthwhile. And I know there's some issue of space, and with that, I think we're in sync. The question is the detail.
I have, in the last 5 years, I planted about 40 of these green giants. They grow about a foot a year in this climate, and they don't get super wide, and they're not a lot of maintenance. So in my experience, I didn't lose any. As long as you water them like crazy the first year, you don't really lose them. So that's my experience with that particular species. So I don't, hopefully hear from the
They
rest of
don't,
them.
I understand that you don't provide a good deer brunch.
They don't at all. Deer don't go near. I'm all set.
The other thing we could possibly do, some of the plants that we're proposing, in the rear of the building, you see the parking lot on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, there's a lawn area. So maybe we can move some of those evergreens that are at the toe of the slope, just a little bit closer to the building to get a little bit more screening.
Okay, Commissioner Mayne?
What's that? So instead of plantings, would you, like you said, you don't want to move the trees, would you put some kind of decorative fencing up there? I did go and look at this, and
They did not express an interest in a fence.
they didn't. They didn't, or?
They didn't.
They did.
I think we're pursuing a path that they want. It's a little confusing because I think what they really want is the building to be up, take a relook at it, see if this all makes sense to them. They would like to continue to see their rock wall. But once we start to put bushes in, they lose the wall and they lose some of their property. So it's a little bit of a catch-22 for me right now, because trying to be neighborly, and they are also being very cooperative It's just, it's an awkward dance and it's a lot for them to absorb in a very short period of time.
No, because I did go by and took a look.
Pardon?
I did go by and took a
Yeah.
look, and you definitely could see up there. They could probably see those buildings if you didn't do anything about it.
They can see the building, but again, it's, you know, you can see the house now, they can see what's down there now.
I know, but I'm saying this is a bigger.
I think it's a
problem.
legitimate, I hear them and I think it's a legitimate request.
Okay, so you think that you're gonna be able to work something out with the neighbors?
In my mind, yes, they have to be willing to accept. They have to be
Fine, anyway, so,
When we get to the public, we'll
yeah,
get.
we'll get to the public and, okay.
So we should be re-asking questions that we asked last time, so they're on the public record this time. Is that what I thought? Okay.
Or you can honestly make a summary of
Right.
what is your interpretation of what you did last time and they
All
can.
right, I got like three, I think. The roof color, I think I asked about last time, I'll ask about it again. Do you know what color the backs are? Are they gonna be flat so they're not reflective? That's really the concern.
They're metal roofs, they're a whitish color. Yeah,
Because it's not-
they're very
it's not
slow
shiny.
pitch, they're half inch per foot, so they're not, they're not pointing at anybody. It's
Okay.
very shallow.
Yeah, because the concern would be if it reflects, is the sun gonna be, so.
You know, I don't see
Yeah,
that
something
shining off at anybody or any cars or something like that.
Not a shiny roof. The inside units, is there electricity to the inside units? How's
There's
that?
no electricity in the individual unit, typically.
Besides a light or?
No, there's not even a light. The lights are on in the hallway and they shine into the units.
Okay.
People pile stuff and they do, so we try to keep everything from the outside and shining in.
Okay, so no power in the units. All right. For the, is there going to be some form of gate to keep the property closed?
There's not a fence gate. There's just a gate that at night come down like an arm on the two sides to keep, we just want to keep people from parking up there, having their coffee, having something.
Gotcha.
Police will have access so they can go in and out whenever, but we're trying to keep people from going in the back.
Can you show the location of the gate?
They're on two sides of the building. I think they're on, so on the right and left side, lower part.
There's a little one right here.
There.
Yeah. The facility is not open, Jason Edward to the record. It's not open 24 hours, right? It's only, work hours access, whatever access.
Yes.
I forget what you said.
And then there's only one restroom in the main office.
Correct.
That was everything. Oh, what would prevent people from turning the units into bedrooms?
It's actually.
You don't have to answer. Go ahead.
That's.
Wow.
You said the operation is 24 hours?
Pardon?
The operation 24 hours?
No, it's not the opposite. So it's we close down, fluctuates a little bit, but it's from 9 o'clock to like 5, 6:30, 6 in the morning. Place will be closed. Won't get in.
So the client cannot have access after
That
that?
is correct. There's always an exception. There could be 1 or 2 clients that work a day or night shift. So they would get a special exemption into that thing, but we would know who that is. Typically, it's 1 or 2, it's a couple people. But it's not.
Lights, are the lights going dusk to dawn? How do they?
Yes, and when it gets dark, they go on. When it gets light, they go off on the outside.
Does
So
that,
like safety slash.
are the neighbors okay with that in the back?
The only neighbor that is affected, the regular, the other neighbors are commercial properties, so they're not affected.
So why would you need the lights in the rear?
It's for safety and security. The cameras don't pick up anybody if the lights aren't on, and it's really the police. You don't realize how much they look and watch. It just makes their job easier when they're driving by. So that has been my experience, and that is what they've always requested in all our locations.
Dark stuff.
Yeah, we also are following. There's a few pet peeves I have. One is the lighting. I don't like my lighting I like it to stay on my property. I don't like it to leave the property. I don't understand. I think, and I do comply exactly with law.
So now you have the lights directed toward the property.
Well, they shine down and towards the building, I would say.
Thank you.
The dark sky compliant.
Yeah, they're-
That was what they tested.
Yeah, so they're the best lights, and they're the ones that, you're requesting.
Can I ask one more question on that? Do you know what the height of the light pole is compared
It
to
was-
the grade
It was
of the
on,
neighbor's
the
property?
plan, But I can't remember.
That might know what he looked at.
Oh, man. You know the height of the pole?
The height of the pole is 14 feet.
So at the upper side, what's the elevation of the grade without, do you know what I'm getting at? I'm going, what's the elevation of that 14-foot fixture?
It's about 440 elevation, so you'd be about 4.
Proposed 440?
Give that side cut, would that show it?
What did you ask?
The sightline one, would that kind of,
Section.
might not say the height, but at least you could kind of.
Yeah, right in the corner here somewhere, right? LP1L1.
Oh, you're somewhere around 433.6 in that area, plus or minus. And you said 14 feet. So that's 447.6. And the elevation at the property line is anywhere from 450.
Between 12 and 14 feet, the lights.
Yeah, so if the proposed elevation is 433.6, then the height of the actual fixture is at 447.6. And the grade at the property is 450 to 460. So the actual fixture location is going to be around the same elevation of the grade. So when you're thinking about looking out above it, someone standing 6 feet higher than that looking out, they'll be able to see the top of the actual fixture, but the lights coming down and dark sky compliant lights are now made so that the glare doesn't, impede and flood upwards as older lights did. So the board can make a determination on whether they feel like that's appropriate or not. But my concern was that the light pole was an 18-foot pole or something of the sort, was actually sticking up above the grade of the neighboring property. And that's not the situation.
My concern was in somebody's bedroom,
Yeah.
seeing that light at night, all night. So, but if it's like you said, if it's lower and maybe baffled in a way that just comes in.
Especially, anyway, I have personal issues with that light that comes out of bed from my town fire department. But anyway, that's a different issue. These lights are below their house, this house. So their house is somewhere over here, and so the lights are below that. So if they're in their house, there's no way for them to see these lights or to get any glare from them.
Okay.
The only
You
time
can see the height of the existing house, so. And this.
See here, the back of the building is down here, so that grade is something like 434, 435. And, the house grade, the butter is about 450, but then there's a big constant between. From the property line, perhaps they can see down just like there was building, but from the house.
They shouldn't get light in any aspects of.
No light would spill off the site, it's all.
No, it's all decided.
Done, thank you.
Okay,
My questions were already answered.
questions are answered.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go on mine. Good, well, good. Then we'll go to the public next. So are there any members of the public here tonight who'd like to address the commission on this? So please address the commission.
Thomas Harris.
Not the applicant, address the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Thomas Harris, and as I address the commission, I'd just like to say once again, thank you to this group for taking the time out of your day to come to our home to mention the circumstances for yourself. And while I'm at it, Mr. Ambrosi, thank you as well for going the extra mile to see how this affects residents of Monroe. For Mr. Westland, the rest who actually did not visit, cannot really portray to you in pictures the circumstances here. I understand now from being in a situation, the importance of the job you serve to the town of Monroe. It's quite disturbing that when you get a plea from a young family trying to live a life in a town where you sit on the board, that you will listen to their pleas and their yearning for a little bit more than average. And I particularly say this to you, Mr. West. Basically told us in the last hearing that when you live that close to Main Street, you get affected. We live 4.5 acres from Main Street. I think you have the time to see my home and see the view of my daughter's bedroom to the above location. You get a gist of what I'm talking about here tonight. For the record, I'd like to thank for his efforts, his gracious efforts to make this an amicable transition for us and our young family. You'd never imagine it would be as stressful as it is. When you actually have to call a realtor to see if it is that you could find a way out. And as you sit here and you serve this town, and once again echo the importance of this job, importance of it, to listen to the residents of the town, to hear where they're coming from. I get back to, and thanks Matt as well for taking an hour or so with my wife, my family to try to come up with an amicable solution. I guess the whole point of it is I feel that the decision is already made. Whether or not you had 50,000 people protesting this, you would have still made a decision. Don't feel as though voices are tended to in this town or heard. And so be it. That being said, we had to make a decision to work with what we have. And luckily we have a developer who wants to be a good neighbor and who I believe has taken good measure to make sure something amicable could be worked out, whereby my children aren't playing in the backyard 5 o'clock in the evening in the summer, watching cars rolling behind them, not knowing who these strangers are. And if you took the time, you'd see what I'm talking about. It's really hard to depict in pictures. That being said, my main concern hasn't really disappeared, right? It's not really been addressed. I understand there's only a certain amount of things a commission could do in addressing screening and holding holding town legally obligating to adhere to measures to pacify us. But that being said, what exactly is the solution? I feel as though 120 feet of fencing, stone wall fencing that's been there for a long time, which blends into the landscape, probably would disappear. I'm not satiated by the solution. I feel as though we're making progress, but I feel as though tonight, I think that tonight puts an end to the discussion. Tom is very open and he's, of course, but he's going to have a 2-year project ahead of him. And I think if the commission could consider our plight, that proper screening, adequate screening is all we're looking for. We realize we're part of the town has to grow, commerce, taxes, etc. And it'd be selfish of us to, to deny everyone else because of our plight, his endeavors. But that being said, I think if it is that something reasonable could be worked out, whereby it's dense forestry, sporadic, arborvitae's, I don't think would get the job done. It's a good effort. Thomas, once again, been very amicable about it, that he's willing. I just don't know what the commission would do for its residents to make sure that happens. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other members of the public here tonight that would like to comment on this application? Please come forward and just state your name and address.
Sarah Harris, 26 Freeman Lane. So most of what was said tonight is accurate. I'm sure you just want validation from our side. There's probably only one thing I can clarify. There is another neighbor, 35 Cary Hill. It's an NYU doctor. I don't think he's there very much. He's not here, so he can't speak, but I think he's actually more impacted than me and my family. So I just want that to be known. I don't know, like, I appreciate all the sentiment here and the concern for the impact to us. And I appreciate Mr. Cristiano, I appreciate Kathleen, all of you for being thoughtful of the impact to us. But I can't say like, I'm good, right? Like, this is fine, you can go ahead and approve it. Because I just don't know. I don't know the impact. It's really hard to see. Matt made a great effort to come out and added more screening around the building, which I'm sure helps. Absolutely, that's great. But it's hard for me to just get beyond the fact that I had a house to look at and now I have a parking lot and a structure to look at, and how that just changes the whole town. And I do really love stone walls, and I hate to not see that anymore and just see a bunch of the same tall green arborvitae's that I see off of the highway. But I don't know what the solution is. And so I guess my only ask is, what can you do in your purview to make this exceptional at this point, to make this better? Because yes, the POCD says if you can and have an entrance onto Main Street, you can change a residence to a commercial property. I understand that. It didn't need to go so far back, right? And I'm concerned about the precedent that second building that's replacing a home sets on the 50 or so other houses that are impacted in the not open space, but the forestry that exists going all the way up to, say, Dingley Dell. I think it's one of those side streets. There's just houses and houses. So seeing that this is setting a precedence for losing homes to bigger commercial buildings, what can we do to reduce the impact? And I do believe in all sincerity that Mr. Cristiano wants to work with us, and I'm very thankful for that. But I just would ask whatever is in your purview to help, whether, I do think the lighting, can it be dimmed? That backlight, I think it's going to be impactful to 35 Cary Hill. It's going to impact us in some way, shape, or form. And I question, does it really need to be on? The comment here is that the police department requires, well, right now it's really dark back there. So is that really that crucial? And then the color of the building, I think, that's one thing that I feel really strongly about, that I would love if this commission can make the requirement to make that a darker color that blends in the landscape. And one other thing, this is a question for Kathleen, and I'm sorry, I'm just bringing it up now, but there's a raised spigot surrounded by stonework at the White House. I don't know if it's either 517 or 515. I just wonder, is that a historical structure that's going to be taken down? I don't know if that was looked at all, but
A raised spigot?
It's a stone wall that comes up, and and it has some sort of fountain that water comes out of, and it doesn't look like anything anyone would have built anytime in the recent.
I mean, there's always, older structures, older stone walls, or, things like that in town, if it's not actually registered on like the state historic registry, then it's not technically protected.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else here tonight that would like to comment on this application? Is there anyone online that would like to comment on this application? Please raise your hand. Anyone online would like to comment on this application? Seeing none, then back to the applicant.
Thank you, Harris, for acknowledging the cooperation. I think we certainly willing to address the issues. I think the color of the building is back of the building is any issue. I do want to point out with respect to the lighting that a lighting plan was submitted, and that lighting plan shows the candle, what's the term?
Foot candles.
Foot candles at the boundaries. And they are completely fine to do that. The other thing, the final thing I'll say is that with respect to areas where you have residences bordering commercial zones, and it was very common when commercial zones were laid in. Unfortunately, a lot of the planning and zoning commissions did not bother to go along property lines. So what they did was our commercial zone, or B, whatever you want to call it, B1 zone, 200 feet in, 250 feet in. They just put a number. And as this case, it cut across a small portion, there was a small portion that was left. When you look at your B zone and you look at your permitted uses for commercial, the only thing I will say to you is that having done this for quite a number of years, of all the commercial use features we have, the one that is probably the least impactful from traffic and from the perspective of customers, activity is self-storage. Because it's so, you're not bringing in customers, you're not a restaurant that's going to be open until 9 o'clock at night. So that I know is no consolation to the Harrises, but I think from the zoning perspective, if you're in a commercial zoning, we're looking at all the uses and you were going down the lines and you're going, what are the ones that are quote unquote quietest with the least traffic? You probably have self-storage for that. And thank you. With that, any other questions the commission has that we've got to answer?
Okay, we do have a couple remaining questions from the commissioners. Commissioner Ambrosi?
Yeah, for the engineer. How much excavating are you gonna do here?
The
Material.
that's volume of material, available. I think the cut down here is about 8 feet. About 8 feet.
8 feet. How much of it's ledge?
We have excavated some test pits back there, and there is definitely some ledge there. I don't know exactly how much.
Do you have any kind of calculation, how much material or how much you got? You don't have any of that?
We've probably got it. I don't have it with me.
I think I asked you for that last time, right?
I don't know if you asked on this one.
I think I asked a while ago.
It was on the other.
Do you have any idea how much blasting you're gonna do here?
I don't think, he's got more experience with the property than I do, Tom, but I wouldn't expect all that much. There's probably gonna be some, but it's a slab on grade, it's not a foundation, so it helps.
Tom Cristiano. Also building there, we don't have, most of it's filled. We don't have much of the back corner near where the dumpster, we'll call it the Starbucks, is where we might have an issue. And if it's one day of blasting, if we have that, it would be a lot. Because we really don't have a lot. It's almost a balance.
Yeah.
If I were to hit all bankrupt, I'd be a very happy person. In the sense of it's so it gets filled, and then there's just a little corner, the right corner could be the size from here to your thing, that I may have like a 10-foot high by 35, 40-foot here, would be a problem.
Are you gonna use most of the material on the property
Yeah, we should,
remove anything?
shouldn't be moved much in it. No.
Yeah, I have no use for it anywhere else.
Another question I have to you, the lighting in the back. Okay, I know that you say you want to keep it lit back there. Why wouldn't you put those on motion detectors? That way the backside, I couldn't understand why you wouldn't do that. I mean, you still have your cameras, you still have all your stuff, but when motion detector goes off, lights on for 2 or 3 minutes.
You know what?
But what's the issue with that?
What's more annoying?
Well,
Because
What's more annoying, a light that flickers every time
Or if the light-
something goes, or just a light that you could get used to over the course of time? I don't know. I'm just saying.
you don't have to see the.
I tell you, when I'm sitting at my house and every time my motion light goes up, I'm like, oh. And I don't know. I don't know what's more annoying.
Really, pretty much nobody goes back there. And it's pretty quick.
But wildlife could trick it. Yeah, trip it. I mean, sometimes, all the time, a raccoon go back.
Anybody else that does that.
I'm just saying for the,
I don't think the neighbor would want to see a light that flickers so often when something goes back there. Just a light that's below. I don't know what's more annoying.
You're my brother.
Either way, you're not seeing it.
Hey, Dominic, I think the solution would be, I know you have to have some kind of lighting there for security. The solution would be to lower those lights and make them reflect toward the ground and the building.
It is, that's why we submitted this lighting plan to you. It is, there's no off-site.
No lumens, lights.
And it's all down lighting. The other thing I will point out about, and having just installed, that's the door. I have a, in my office, and I have in my house, the Ring, spotlights with the Ring camera. And, at night, we have to turn off the alert because the number of squirrels that set that thing off in the back, and I think that might be more disconcerting. And just as you pointed out, have the lights go off and on with an animal running, because when you're putting those motion sensors in, they're pretty sensitive. We have seen back there, and the motion sensors, you do want the security, but that's the whole reason why you have a regulation for lighting, that it doesn't go off-site. And it shines straight down, it doesn't reflect off, and that's why you have to have the plan. But I mean, my clients are willing to address anything with respect to that, but I don't know. It's just like the issue of blasting. This is a small amount of blasting. And I've had commissioners ask me, my clients, well, can't you do it without blasting? And in my years of experience, there's more complaints from neighbors when they hammer it out. And I can guarantee, because my office is in a bank building, they are doing the improvements to Route 34 in Derby. And they use the hammer. I'm in the middle of a bank building, an old bank building, and all my pictures are crooked from them hammering. I think I would have preferred them to drop a sticks of dynamite and do it all at once. So there's a balance that you have to achieve. We're willing to cooperate in any way.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, about the planting screening right behind the building as an option. I know, I think Matt had mentioned it. Can we look at the landscape plan and just kind of see where or what might be added if possible? So then if they're looking down, they're not technically seeing a building, they're seeing trees and a roof.
Matt can confirm this, but I think he was talking about moving these trees.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, not the street. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Those trees there, just moving those closer to the building in that area there. Yep.
In this area here, so that it would.
I mean, it would help. It's not gonna completely solve it, but, and then to the left, how much,
But right, that tree's got to grow like a lot.
Yeah.
you will. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what.
A lot. You could move that thing to Rockefeller Center by the time it's done.
I think they came up with some kind of a plan for the neighbor. If that works.
Yeah. American holly, the Norway spruce, green giants.
Look like they're called out, 7 to 8 feet high, Matt, is that right?
Yes, yep. Typically, they're, somewhat fast growing. Use the Norway spruce, they're very durable trees, easy to get.
And then the other thing, is there any way to have access to the back get moved so it's access to the side of the building? So the access to the back of the building, would there be a way to, since there's no external units, if you go on the far side, would there be any possibility to have the access be there so then you don't need this back turnaround area as much?
I don't think the grades would allow it. You have to go up here to get to the back and then flatten out, but you couldn't create the flat spot there. Wouldn't have us really.
Yes.
All right, any other?
I just have another question. I
Yes,
have
go
another
ahead.
question in the roof, okay? Why does the roof have to be white?
It's just the reflective color. Yes, that's the color that it comes. It's like an off-white type thing.
It's just not gonna be, gonna be great.
Not really, it should come like it's supposed to be. So, but again, it won't, it's such a small pitch that people will see it if they're up above on in their yard, but that's just how it comes. I mean, that's the style that helps to keep the heat down and reflect. So,
I understand that. I'm in the trade, okay?
okay.
So you want to keep the sunlight reflected. But at the same time, it does glare and it does have an impact. If it could be toned down, it would make a difference.
I have to look into that. I think don't know the answer.
I think they're talking about the color of the back of the building, not the.
They're talking the color of the back of the building, the actual wall, the building is a gray. It's a toned down gray. And what they're requesting, and what Matt suggested to them was that the back of the building be a darker gray, in essence, a darker color. I don't have a problem with that. And that could be part of the agreement. That is not what the architectural review board approved. That was not, and that's not.
Yeah, they
I don't know.
Advisory, just for
Oh,
clarification.
I'm just letting you know.
They're an advisory board.
That shade of white on the roof, it's not going to impact you, but it's going to impact others. So I would think if you just tone it down a bit, it's gonna be an improvement.
So I don't know how much of the back of the building they're gonna see when they are. I think they're really gonna be seeing the roof.
Awesome.
Right, roof. Think about it.
Okay. Oh, no problem.
Any other questions from commissioners? Okay, Kathleen? Do you have any other comments? And do we have all of our information into closed hearing?
So we need to, they're gonna submit the narrative for what's permitted or prohibited within the facility from their tenants. Do you want to see the potential changes to the color of the roof and or backside of the building?
No, I think that can be a condition of approval.
It's really, how do we want to handle the outstanding issue of planting?
I don't think that it's going to be resolved as far as a plan.
Okay, the question to the commission is there anything more you want to see besides what has been presented? So, Matt talked about bringing some of the evergreens maybe forward. I can either make that a condition of the approval. Is there any other landscaping within the purview of the commission that you want to see, which would have to get submitted prior to closing public hearing?
No, I don't.
I mean, Matt was out there and spoke with the Harrises, so whatever they discussed, that
Right.
is really it's really
Between them.
yeah.
Well, for on their property.
On their property.
On this property, it's gotta be what's on the plan.
Right.
So.
But again, they also-
Plan's gonna change.
Plus the additional evergreens
Right.
that they talked about. Do you want to make that a condition of the approval?
All they're doing is moving the plants up.
They're on the.
They're add-ons.
Plan that's, you don't have that yet.
It's just that.
Yeah, he had talked, it's on the latest one?
Yeah, these are right here.
No. He was talking about the ones closer to the building, bringing
Oh,
some
moving
closer
those
to,
back,
yeah.
yeah, they were just gonna be relocated. So the same number of plants, it's in a different location. So these would be.
So these is the same what's gonna be there. We're just gonna move.
Yeah.
I also might move the tree that's just shown right on the left. That's just to the parking lot to the left of the 4 spots. I actually might even move that back and maybe put like an evergreen there too. So to screen that edge of the building.
So I'd like to keep it open because I would like to have the permitted items in writing. I would like to have that actually as part of the record. However, if the board is leaning towards a favorable approval, I can also start to draft that resolution so that you could close the public hearing and potentially make a determination the same way.
How are we leading towards
You could
closing?
conditional approval.
You guys?
Yeah, we can close it.
All right. Okay, then we're going to close the hearing. And you'll draft a provisional approval with the conditions that we've discussed.
Yeah.
Sure. Deliberate on that next. All right, final public, well, we have
No.
Yeah, they'll do it when it's approved.
several listed, two public hearings, which are really both the same. There's a ZCA zone boundary change. File number 1028, 269 Purdy Road, there's an SEP 2019, which is also 269 Purdy Hill Road, and there's a site development plan, SUP 2024, which is also 269 Purdy Hill Road, which I believe we can hear together.
Can we?
In one night. So,
It all kind of relates to each other. So I think the initial presentation that they have is going to be all encompassing. You're going to have to vote on everything separately. And I think the public hearings need to be done separately. But the initial presentation can talk about all three items, and then procedurally we'll go through each one at a time.
okay, that sounds good.
Let me just read for the record.
Go ahead.
Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, Monroe, Connecticut, notice of public hearing in accordance with CGS 8-7D. Public hearing will be held on Thursday, March 7th at 7 PM or soon thereafter via hybrid Zoom meeting and in-person attendees at Town Hall. ZCA 2024-02, file 1028, 269 Purdy Hill Road, zone boundary change petition application proposed for 269 Purdy Hill Road, assessor's map 21, lot 18, from ARR to RF1, Sound 2 Home Builders LLC owner, Conan Thomas applicant, J. Edwards and Associate LLC representative. SN SEP 2019-11A2, file 1619269 Purdy Hill Road, special exception permit amendment modification application to separate the single family parcel from the ARR development per ZBA approval and amend the site plan to include on the remaining 9.001 acres at 269 Purdy Hill Road, assessors map 21, lot 18, Sound 2 Home Builders LLC owner, Conan Thomas applicant, J. Edwards and Associate LLC representative. Notice was published in Voices twice, February 14th and February 21st.
Thank you. And Kathleen, you have exhibits?
So I'll just start with the exhibit for the ZCA, which is what we're hearing first. Which is the application and plan set. The engineering comments from the town engineer received 2/21/2024. The planning and zoning administrator report received 2/26/2024. The certified mail receipts were received March 7th, 2020.
Okay, not for the applicant.
Coming down, Thomas, Conan Thomas. Here we can representing the applicant, representative, and again, I'm not the applicant, as it says there. The applicant, Sound Home Builders, two home builders. I believe I'll say the owners. Not in any position to give you legal advice. You can technically hold all public hearings at the same time and the subdivision application because they are all related to the same thing. This was a situation where I was called in to work with the client to try to save the home at 269 Purdy Hill Road, which was going to have to be torn down. The matter came before this commission. You deferred the tearing down of the home, which was added to the 9.001 acre property to create the 10 acres for an age-restricted, zone. So the house, and as you saw in the first public hearing of the night, you saw pictures of the homes from this project. And, they are at the end, getting close to the final 3 or so units. And they ran into a problem with the septic, and they would have had to stop selling units until they tore down the home or disconnected, and it was a big issue. The state, just to briefly tell you, the state then passed a new statute this past session, which would have allowed them, once the state got its regs done in a couple of years, a year and a half, to have all the units that they're having without having to tear down the house. So the only way to accomplish that, as this commission told the applicant at the time, was to get a variance in some fashion. So we went to the zoning board of appeals, and they granted a variance to change the size of the ARR here, this project, to 9.01 acres. In other words, the original parcel without that house. As a result of that, the applicant then went to the Department of Health and said, are you okay with this? And can we keep the house? And everybody is happy with it. And they said, fine, you keep the house so you don't lose a housing stock. At the ZBA hearing, I will tell you that the 2 or 3 members of the neighborhood came and pleaded with the commission to approve it because they didn't want to see the house taken down. They would prefer to see a single family home stay in the neighborhood rather than just have an empty lot, or potentially in the future have the AAR spread into it. So that made the neighborhood happy. So the first application is very simply to change the zone of 269 Purdy Hill Road to back to RF1. RF1. So that's all it is the first one, based on the variance, which now allows you to have the ARR on what you see, most of which, not all of which has been built, correct?
It's pretty much all.
Yeah, it's pretty much all built. So that's it. Application number 2 in the public hearing, and which the comments relate to, is simply a submission of a plan of the site plan for the special exception, which had to be amended. Your special exception approved all 10 acres. Application number 3, which is not, in the public, didn't require a public hearing, is simply the subdivision and we had a long discussion as to whether or not it was even needed, but we erred on the side of caution. And because it really might even constitute a free split, because you're not subdividing something that's been split before. What you're subdividing is something that was put together before. You know what I mean? So now you're put together, now it's being taken apart. But because the original 9-acre site was a consolidation in my research of 3 other parcels, 2 or 3 other parcels, I think 2 parcels, we felt it safer to do a subdivision application and that you approve it. So that's a summary of what's here. You're not approving anything to be built. You're not approving anything like that. You're just approving actions that resulted from, number 1, the desire to keep the house. Number 2, the zoning board of appeals granting the variance to change the size of the ARR in this case.
Okay, thank you. Kathleen, do you have anything to add?
And actually, after that, Mr. Edwards, can you show the subdivided property line and talk a little bit about the jog and the reason that jog is occurring because of the utilities?
You're referring to this here?
Yep.
Yeah, so this would be the Jason Edwards for the record. This would be the new line here. And the reason we have to jog this is because the soils on this lot and the existing septic system they don't meet code and they're not great. So in order to get a reserve area, we found good soils here. So we bumped this out to go around that septic area. So they have a area for a septic back there. They should need it. Right now, the system is functioning, but this is just for the septic reserve area if they were to have to replace it. And that's really goes there. So it really doesn't have any impact on any of the setbacks of the the already built, all the stuff you see here is constructed. So the septics are built, the drains are built, the buildings are built, everything is essentially constructed. So it doesn't impact that.
Okay, thank you.
So my comments related to the zone boundary change was just to make reference to the ZBA approval from January 9th, 2024. I will go into my other ones as well. On the special exception plan, there's one minor error about the date and month that's on the last revision, just to have that updated before final items are submitted. And then for the plan, the reason we wanted to see this is we were going to check those setbacks, based on the new subdivision line. And again, they had to jog it a little bit for the septic, and all of that is in compliance. There was a couple conditions from the engineer's memo. He had a comment about stormwater and whatnot. All of that has been addressed, and he has no outstanding comments with the applicant.
Thank you. All right, then we'll go to the commissioners for questions. So we'll start on my right.
No questions.
No question.
No questions.
So we're gonna take the age restricted out, but RF1,
That's only on 269.
Just for that lot.
The single family house site is the only thing being changed in the zone, for the zone change is to take that property, and there's a zone change back there.
I'm saying the our regulations, I think, require it to be 10 acres, no?
That's why I have to get
So
variance.
you're changing the ARR regulation to 9 acres?
No, they received.
We're not changing your regulations. We got a variance for that.
The CBA.
We didn't want to change your, before I became involved, I understand it was discussed with the commissioner, with somebody at that point, and there was certainly not a desire to change your regulation, which would have changed the regulation for all ARRs. So in order to accommodate it, because of the unique situation here with the state having passed the statute and the regulations, we went for a variance and the ZBA limit.
Well, yeah, but when we approved this thing, we approved it as a 10 acre.
Correct, you approved it with the combined.
The house was supposed to go away.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there was any hardship here.
The hardship that was argued to say is the action of the state. The fact of the matter that instead of having, because of the unique situation of the state passing the law, if the state passed the law and the state changed the regulation the day after they passed the law, in which case.
That didn't come into play when we approved this.
This has nothing to do with when this all occurred this year.
I understand.
Yeah, right.
We approved it. That was based on calculations, but when we approved it
Right.
for this development, the house was supposed to be removed.
Right.
Because, of the way the development was. I have an issue with changing it from what we approved because it was a 10 acre parcel and now we're cutting it down to a 9 acre parcel. So what's to have somebody else that doesn't want to come in here and go and say, well, I got an 8 acre parcel or I have 10 acre, but I got 2 acres I want to use for something else, but I want an ARR and then I want to go to the zoning board of appeals and then try to get those 2 acres off of that. I just have an issue with changing that when something was pre-approved. That's my opinion.
The answer I have for it is I doubt very much if they would have the same.
You said it.
That for a hardship that we incurred with the statute passing and the regulations being too, that was the basis of the hardship that was argued and granted. Well, of course, you don't set a precedent
The
anyway.
ZBA determined it was. I mean, that's their job, and they determined it was one.
Questions?
No.
Start on your side.
Yeah, we already, okay.
Right. I'm good.
I go last.
I got nothing.
I'm good.
All right, I don't.
Now we're at you.
All right, we'll go to the public. Wait, at this point. Are there any members of the public here tonight that would like to comment on this application? Either for, against, or neutral?
Any neighbors?
Just raise your hand and come on down and just name and address, and just address the commission.
My name is Maggie Parham, and I live at 262, which is diagonally across the house, and I am in favor of granting them the permission to have the house remain there and be separated from the property. I just would like not to look at another condo in the future, and I would like the street to remain residential. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other members of the public tonight here that would like to comment on this application? Just raise your hand. Are there any members of the public online that would like to comment on this application? Any of the three applications? Seeing none, we'll go back to the commissioners. Do you, any last questions on this?
Can I actually read the other exhibits for the SEPs?
Yeah, go ahead, because then we'll vote
Together.
three separate.
And then are we gonna open up the public hearing for the second one too? Just,
Technically, we can. The exhibits for the SCP 2019-11A2 is the application and plan set, received February 8th, 2024. The engineering comments by the town engineer received 2/21/2024, and the planning and zoning report received 2/26/24. And we also did receive the certified receipts, which we'll put in as exhibits.
Any exhibits for the site development plan?
No, as I said, the site development plan was really about just checking that setback to make sure it didn't impede and it's still in compliance with
You have to
regulations.
close them all separately.
Well, two are public hearings,
Right.
and the subdivision is a separate one that doesn't require a public hearing. And I would say if we vote on it, we should actually sequentially vote subdivision, the zoning, and then SEP.
It requires 3 votes. Technically, the subdivision should be the first vote, followed by the zone change, followed by the modification, and keeping in mind, of course, that the zone change needs to have just as any other zone change has.
Okay, any members of the public here tonight would like to comment on the second application? Any members of the public online that would like to comment on the second application? Yes, come on forward. And just name and address for the record.
Len Snyder, County Cutler's Farm. Actually, abuts property on Pretty Hill Road. I'm generally neutral on the situation. I guess the question, if you remove the house, what would be there? If the house was removed, that's the only question I have.
Could be a lot, or they could possibly put another condo in there.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go back and probably a lot.
Like a building lot, put something else on that would go along with the existing ARR.
No, it'd fall into RF1.
No.
no, not if we don't approve it.
Right.
Yeah, it would have to be age restricted and it would, yeah.
So it's separate property.
But if it gets approved, it would be an RF1.
Age restricted. Part of that same Cutler's Farm crossing.
Yes, they could put like a workshop or a barn or something. Utility shed.
Very unlikely that it would become like a field or,
Right.
yeah,
Or
just
just
open space or.
Open space. Is there be a requirement that it be about its open space?
No. So,
Yeah, I don't think we can, yeah, they could designate, yeah, we could say that's gotta be a big space.
I think
So the
so.
point is to say,
House. Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else here tonight would like to comment on the application? Or anyone online like to comment on the application, please raise your hand.
Where's our audience tonight?
Seeing none, the applicant, would you like to close the hearings?
Say that too loud.
Yes.
The hearings, okay, we're gonna close 1, 2, hearings.
Thank you.
1, 2.
And that ends the public hearing portion of tonight's agenda. We'll go right into deliberations and determinations. Might as well.
We technically have to, the subdivision, just
You didn't close that?
because it wasn't a public hearing. So you've technically closed the public hearing part of it. So just again, discussions for the subdivision. I'm just going to read the exhibits into the record, application and plan sets. document dated 2/7/2024, engineering comments by the town engineer dated due 21/2024. And then exhibit number 3, which is the planning and zoning report dated 2/23/2024. And then I would just ask the commission if there's any comments and if there's
Any
any
comments on this third portion? All right, this is not a public hearing.
correct.
We're going to just close it. And now we're going to do deliberations and determinations. We could start with this one that we just.
Do you want to wait for Leon to come back?
No.
Okay.
You?
Just saying.
Yeah.
I think we need Leon back.
You have to sit somebody.
We'd have to seat somebody until he got back.
All right,
Can we do a
5-minute break?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be in recess for 5 minutes. Welcome back to the regular meeting of the Town of Monroe Planning and Zoning Commission. It's March 7th, 2024. It is 9:22 PM.
Bill Holdsworth wants that.
We are entering into deliberation. First deliberation will be on the subdivision 269 Purdy Hill Road. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
I have one update. No. So I circulated the draft resolution to the board. Since that draft resolution, I have one change, which is on page 7, which is 4.3A. It just changes to say that all lots, underground retention systems for impervious surface runoff shall be provided in accordance with the approved SCP 2023-03, file number 1651A, or any amendments approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was language in there referencing impervious surface that didn't correlate to this job, so it was updated to reference the actual SCP. Because there's not individual stormwater on each lot, it's actually, per that plan. So that is the change that was made from the version that you have received.
Aye, aye.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the draft application.
Motion to approve, where are we at here, buddy? C. Sub, 2024-02, file 1275269, Purdy Hill Road.
Motion by Commissioner Mayne.
second?
We have a motion and a second.
Second by Westland.
Second by Commissioner Westland. Well, is there any further discussion?
Oh, sir.
I'm going to call the vote starting on my right.
Rosie, no.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayne, yes.
Westland, yes.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. We'll move up to the CP 2019-11-A2. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the SCP.
Motion to approve SCP 2019-11-A2, file number 1619 at 269 Purdy Hill Road.
Okay, motion by Westland,
Second.
second by Mayne. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll call the roll starting on my right.
Common, yes.
Rosie, no.
O'Reilly, yes.
Yes. Mayne, yes.
Westland, yes.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. Okay, third is ZCA 2024-02, 269 Purdy Hill Road, zone boundary change. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the zone boundary change.
Motion to approve ZCA 2024-02, file 1028269 Purdy Hill Road.
Motion by Mayne. Second by Westland. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
I have a problem with changing the zone.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, because like I said, when we approved this for age restriction, it's got to be a minimum of 10 acres.
Yes.
Now we take away an acre. And so now we're approving an ARR by saying it's 9
Well, the
acres.
zoning board of appeals. did
No,
that.
I understand that. But I'm saying this board is the one that will change the zone, not the ZBA, this board. And so when we change the zone,
For that one house to
For that
R.
one house, I understand that. What we're doing is we set a precedence here that if any ARRs come in front of us and there's a house on it, then if it's 10 acres and all of a sudden the person says, I gotta approve, I'm gonna rip the house down, they come back in front of us again, well, I want to keep the house. And I understand why they're keeping the house.
We're pretty much built out with ARR at this point.
No, and I understand that, but I'm saying that our regulations stand for a reason. They stand because it had to be a minimum of 10 acres. And then when this board sits here and changes the acreage of an ARR, I don't think that, and whatever ZBA did is one thing. What I'm saying to you is our regulations stand 10 acres. You know, when you cut it down to 9 acres.
We're not cutting it down, only for this particular.
I understand. We're still
application.
changing
The rest
it.
are all still 10.
But we set this for everybody in this town a long time ago. And all the ARRs were 10 acres. And that's why I have an issue with changing a zone that it looks like you just spot zoning it. You're saying, okay, that's gonna be AR, and now we're gonna spot zone, we're gonna make that a residential piece. That's the issue I have. That's why I voted no on this. And that's why when he came in front of us, he said he was gonna take the house down, gonna landscape it, and we were happy with that because it was gonna be removed. And then now all of a sudden, the house is gonna stand, and I understand why it's gonna stand, because it's another unit. You're adding another unit to what we already pre-approved. And that's the way I look at it.
All right.
Well,
Call the
point
roll,
taken,
starting on my right.
point taken.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, no.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Okay. Zone boundary change passes 4-1. Okay, next sub.
I'm so sorry. We were talking, you have to vote on the effective date. So the effective date would be March 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
Yes.
Do we need to vote on that?
Separate? That's okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the effective date of March 22nd, 2024.
Motion by Condon,
Second.
second by Mayini. We'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, no.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
And the date has been
March 22nd.
approved. All right, we have two more deliberations. One is printed SUV 2023-04. This is 127 Main Street. This hearing was closed last meeting on 2/15/24.
So we went a little out of order, so I apologize when we had said we were going to vote on the subdivision. That is what I was saying, that I had a draft resolution to you. So that was first, and then I assumed we were going to infill after that on the agenda.
Okay, sorry.
So no worries.
Went out of it.
So my comment about the item being changed is for this application, which is for page 7, 3A. The only thing that's going to change in that resolution is all lots underground retention systems for impervious surface runoff shall be provided in accordance with the approved SCP 2023-03, file number 1651, or any amendments approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Make a motion to approve subdivision approval SUB 2023-04, file 1273C as drafted with the amendment.
Motion by Condon,
Second.
second by Ambrosi. Any discussion? If not, we'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Motion passes, subdivision 2023-04. Okay, now, do you want to deliberate on 515, 517 Main Street? The one that we closed earlier?
No, you had said we're going to draft a resolution for the next meeting.
For that, we're gonna keep it open.
Yes. That was 1271 Main Street.
You said both of those, you said we were going to do
Didn't
the resolution.
517, 515,
We haven't left it
517.
open.
No, you left it open.
Okay, my mistake. All right, moving on. We have a new application. Kathleen, you want to give us a quick? I think we've seen a little bit of this already, but
That it's 205 Spring Hill Road. I don't know where my address is. That's the application. It's an industrial building. The property is half in the town of Trumbull, half in the town of Monroe. There's an existing building on the Trumbull side. They're proposing industrial warehouse on the rear side. Access will be from the Trumbull side into the property. They are manipulating a wetland, an existing wetland, so they're in front of the Wetland Commission right now, and they're parallel processing wetland and P and Z.
I think we saw this on at the subcommittee level.
Yeah, and Chairman, I do think that we talked about closing the 5:15 with additional approval.
Hold on,
I think we closed.
Did.
hold on.
Everybody's notes?
Close the meeting. You asked for a draft provisional approval, which conditions discussed.
We can't vote on it tonight.
No, I know we're not voting on it tonight, but
We wanted to deliberate.
yes, we closed the public hearing.
Closed. So we're,
Nothing gets by Michael O'Reilly.
I'm not gonna argue with the boss over here. All right, so where were we?
It's a heavy.
Well, so do you want to deliberate on the 5:15?
Something else. We'll just-
Oh, you said we were gonna draft a resolution.
So we'll deliberate next time.
Okay. Other business. We have meeting minutes, please.
Okay, so we're not,
Oh, wait, are we releasing the bond?
Well,
Yeah, we-
minutes is next.
Well, I don't know where that falls, the bond.
Minutes is next. Okay. So we have minutes of February 1st.
I make a motion to approve minutes of February 1st as drafted.
I have a motion by Condon, second by Westland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I make a motion, sorry.
Okay, it's unanimous.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of February 15th as drafted.
Motion by Condon, second by Westland. Is there any discussion or changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Now we have a request for an extension to SCP 2018-R2A3. This is 205 Monroe Turnpike extension. And the request to be granted to 3/30/24.
So we received a letter Solely Engineering, dear commission members, Solely Engineering on behalf of the owner applicant, 205 Monroe Turnpike LLC is hereby requesting an extension to the filing of the special exception permit site development plan approval amendment modification grocery store SCP 2018-03A3, file number 159A, to allow the commission additional time to endorse the plans. The original date of final plans to be signed was October 15th, 2023, and was previously requested an extension through February 29th, 2024. Now we request an additional 30-day extension to March 30th, 2024, signed by Matt Baldino, Solely Engineering. We are in correspondence with them. They have submitted a set of plans to us. Engineering just had a couple additional comments. They're working on resubmitting to us. So we're very, very close to the end to do this. So they just needed a little more time in order to address the staff's comments.
Thank you, Kathleen. Then shall I entertain a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Westland
Second.
and second by Mayini. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. This is, the extension is granted. Second, we have a second request for an extension. This is file 2023-06, 846 Main Street to 3/30/2024.
Letter from Matt Baldino at Solely Engineering. Solely Engineering on behalf of the owner applicant, Gondal Corporations, is hereby requesting an extension to the filing of the special exception permit site development plan approval SCP 2023-06, file number 1654A, to allow the commission additional time to endorse the plans. The original date of final plans to be signed was October 15th, 2023. We've requested extensions through February 29th, 2024. We would like to request an additional 30-day extension to March 30th, 2024. We have not received these plans yet, so they're asking for extension so that they can submit final plans to staff.
What is the delay that they're?
I'm not sure.
Say 46.
It's what?
What 846 is? What is? Yeah.
You know the project.
Yeah, hold on, give me a second and I will pull this. This is for my time.
For your time.
Money, right? There's 846.
Doesn't even really think where that is. Oh, is that
Roadrunner?
gas station on the corner?
Yeah. Gas
Yeah,
station.
Roadrunner?
Yeah,
That'd be the gas
846 Main
station.
Street gas station.
The Roadrunner?
Yeah, or whatever it's called, yeah.
The one that's going on the
Or
corner.
like Pepper and 125.
They just put up a Roadrunner sign the other day.
Oh, all right.
What's the road?
Yep, it's a 2,844 square foot gas station / convenience store with 12 fueling positions and drive-through.
There's that much room there?
Weren't they gonna also look into, I thought the last time they were looking at obtaining the building next to it? That was for sale? And they were gonna expand or something? No?
I don't think it said that. I don't know.
Maybe I dreamt that.
I remember something like, they were buying the whole corridor.
There's no building.
Just gonna make one big gas.
No, the neighbors complaining.
Yeah,
But they'll.
the resident, yeah.
The resident complain.
Or the employer.
The guy behind it.
Yeah,
I had issue with the drive.
All right, Chair, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Oh, yeah?
Motion to approve extension SCP 2023-06.
Second by Mayini.
Second.
Who said that?
No, Leon.
Rosie.
Oh, Ambrose.
Second by Ambrosi. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None? Passes. To extend has been approved. Final bond release, SCP 2020-05. And some background on that, Kathleen?
This is 615 Main Street. It's Best in Backyards. They have made a formal request to release the bond posted for the application approved in February 4th, 2021. The file number for this project is 1625A. The bond amount was 15,000. The bond was posted using a personal check, which is one of the reasons why we are looking to expedite it for release, because it was a personal check. Just on a staff perspective, there was some changing in staff. They had a final CO. And they had some changes to the plans that we had to work through with them. And then our CEO resigned and things of that nature. So staff was a little delayed on getting them their CO. So we got them their CO this week. That's why we asked for this to be added to the agenda so that we could at least in a good faith effort, release the bond in a timely manner instead of waiting for another 2 weeks. The staff has reviewed, we've signed off on the CO, the site is stabilized, and we are comfortable with the release of the bond.
Okay, Chair, I'll entertain a motion to release the bond.
I'll make a motion to release the bond.
Motion by Westland,
Second.
second by Mayini. All those in discussion?
Yeah, we had a resident, a few meetings ago complain about the lighting there. I did drive by it the other day at night. It does seem pretty bright, like almost out to, I don't know if that's something can discuss with them. What's going on? I don't know.
Is that the one across the
Want
lounge?
to not release the bond, because you want for that to, like, are you asking?
No, I'm just asking if we could
We want to,
maybe have a discussion with them. I don't know if I would hold the bond, but
Obviously, we do.
Once you give them the bond.
yeah,
done.
good point. All right, so maybe I would hold the bond.
Where
is this? I thought,
Backyards.
It's across from Park
it is
Center
pretty bright.
to the right, like right at that
The
intersection.
problem is that building is white too.
Yeah, it is.
So with the
Yeah,
lights
lights it
and the white building,
We
it
just want to
is.
make sure that the lighting is
Right. I agree with you.
requirement.
Be bright.
Yeah, as long as it is, yeah, just because it
White.
appears bright doesn't necessarily mean, but it seemed like it was.
It was,
It's
it does at night, it's bright, but like Bruno said, the building's white, so it clears off that building.
Well, it's
But
also higher than the road, so
yeah,
it's naturally, even though it's coming down, it is bright into the eyes.
I mean, did anybody look at that or?
We don't do inspections at 8 o'clock at night. We do them, during the day and as-built drawings. We use as-built drawings, for.
So as long as our lighting requirements meet what was approved,
So we'll have to talk about potentially ordering a light meter. I don't believe town staff has a light meter to go out and double check the candles.
do they? Really?
But that would be the question, that would be what you're asking. You're asking that it meets the
I
condition.
mean, if it's within what was approved and then we're good.
All right, are we going to is there a motion?
I made a motion.
Okay, so any other discussion? I mean, do you want to hold back the personal bond for that?
What do you want to do?
Yeah, I guess so, no.
Catch 22, if you give up the bond and.
Either way, if you give up the bond and it's not what we signed off on, you could still, go there and ask them to make it meet
You would have to
Yeah.
issue a notice of violation. It would,
It'd be more
procedure.
difficult.
It would be.
So this would be the better option. Okay.
There was already a motion.
Yes, so we're in discussion now.
So what are we gonna do? Vote no?
Well, if nobody seconds it, then nobody seconds.
It was second.
I seconded it.
So we have to vote.
That doesn't mean I can.
And if we vote no, there's no reason they can't, in the next
Oh, come back.
meeting, come back and ask for the release then, yeah.
Well, starting on my left.
You're making this really hard
Yes.
for me. I need like a sleeping place so we make all these notes when you go back and forth.
Yes.
Mayini, no.
Riley, yes.
Ambrosi, no.
Ryan, no, specifically until we can just check out the lighting situation.
All right, so we're gonna hold the bond on a vote of 3-2. With those stipulations.
I'm so sorry. Who were the no's?
One is me.
Mayini.
Ambrosi
Ambrosi.
and Condon.
Mayini, no. Condon, no. Oh, I'm sorry, who's the third?
Rosie.
Yeah, I mean, he had said it and then I happened to drive by the other night.
List of guesses would have
Do
been.
we have any correspondence? I don't believe.
The way I make my
Do
notes though is I assume everybody's yes and then I only write down the no's.
you have any correspondence, Kathleen?
No.
I have some comments, but I'll do it during the staff report.
We do have a new CEO, Thomas Noonan.
That's what
Want to
I'll,
introduce him?
are we there? Are we at staff
Yeah, let's
report?
do it.
Okay, so we have a new CEO, WEO, so zoning enforcement officer, wetland enforcement officer. His name is Thomas Noonan. He started on Monday, so this is his first week. So we are giving him a very warm welcome as he joins the town of Monroe team. And we've got high hopes that he's going to be a great addition to land use. So we're excited that he's here and he's with us.
Nice. Tell them to start pulling those signs.
Yep. First order of business.
Flags, done.
We have a backlog of many other things. That's their first order of business, but we have talked about signs. It's one of the things we're bringing up to speed with is our sign code and things of that nature. And I know there's been a lot of discussion, so we will need to bring him up to speed because I wasn't even part of all the discussions here to reiterate everything. So that is an item that I know is concerned to the commission and to the community. And that will be something that we can add to his general list to look at.
Fill his truck full of signs.
All right. Any other land use staff report?
Sometimes we've got questions about resubmissions if the staff wants full-size drawings. Do you guys always want full-size drawings?
Sometimes the drawings come here, they're kind of small.
Okay, that's
Can't,
fine.
like, I mean, you really can't see, like, there was some of them that I can't even read the print.
Yeah.
That's because you're old.
That small one like you had of. Dunkin'.
Yeah, they gave us one that was real kind, right? This is.
Yes, this is like,
The blasting plan, yeah, that blasting plan was. So the answer is yes, you want full-size drawings.
yeah, because
Totally fine. I just.
It's easier to see. I mean, it's-
For staff to collate, we have no problem doing it. We just want to make it sure it's worth it because it's what you guys want.
something like.
Or get Leon a magnifying glass.
Yeah, or something like that. or big-
There is a
Yeah,
couple
just
magnifying
big
glasses and land use from past staff that needed it, so we can start putting that
Just
at.
have it sit, just have it sit.
Use it.
And then the last
Like I
thing
could
is
read all
that Turkey Roost is Tuesday, March 12th. That's the continuation of the Turkey Roost public hearing, Quarry Ridge. If we can start to socialize a date for that meeting subsequent to that, if we continue that public hearing, we have to continue it to a specific date. So we need to say that on the record on the 12th. So we just want to make sure that that's in place. And we've named it Turkey Roost Tuesdays. So if we want to continue with Tuesdays, let us know.
At 7 o'clock also?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we're doing another meeting?
Turkey Roost Tuesday.
Yeah, the next meeting after.
And will there be
So
tacos?
there's gonna be another one
Yes.
Yes.
on the 26th?
No, we don't, we're trying to
Figure that out.
discuss that right now.
So your
What's
Turkey
spacing?
Roost meeting is on the 12th. And then there's going to be your regular P and Z on the 21st. And then the question is, when do you want the Turkey Roost, the continuation of the Turkey Roost meeting to be?
April
Now,
2nd.
April 9th.
friendly reminder that we have extended our 35 days for the public hearing. So anything that we try to set, we have to request an extension, which is why I'd love to socialize the date with the applicant before the 12th so that everybody's in agreement.
26th would be the earliest.
That's 4 meetings in a month. That's once a week. You guys just have to let me know.
No.
I'll be out of town.
Is that too soon for them? It only gives them 2 weeks.
April
to
2nd is the following, then there's 2 meetings that week.
That only gives them, Commissioner Lupo made.
Like I said,
April 9th.
Only gives-
But that only gives them 2 weeks to respond to it.
April 9th. So we don't have 2 meetings in 1 week.
Let's do April 9th and cancel another. No,
Would potentially
What do
be.
you want to cancel? The RTC?
no.
Let me check the town of Monroe calendar real fast.
No.
Chief Chambers is available.
This month.
What's the vacation week for the kids? Is it the
We already
15th or?
did do it for this month. They're being hindered.
I don't know if I'm going anywhere.
Do they stay in your?
The 9th is ARB.
On second floor, that's fair.
Go in another room? Like,
So I have to be at both.
Oh.
Someone has to be at
I was
both.
trying to help you.
Thank you, thank you. So yes, I will start to socialize the 9th. We'll coordinate for land use on our side, and look at, I don't even think they have anything on the agenda quite yet. And there's only a little more time to submit in order to get on it.
April 9th it is.
I will circulate that to the applicant team, to see how they feel.
Well,
7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
it's, it's not.
It'll always have to be a separate meeting for this.
During.
Part of the reason we made a separate meeting is it's a long night. It's a lot of public comments. And so it's just easier sometimes to separate it from everything else. We also have support staff. We obviously have our attorney that we hired, our third-party attorney specifically for this. And I do know that Tuesdays just generally work better for him. So it's just a little.
April 9th.
Schedule.
All right. Okay, any commissioner reports? Anything else? Good, Kathleen?
Yes.
Great. Shall I entertain a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Miney.
Second.
Second. Adjourn.